everybody, and welcome back to Beyond the Box. And we are late today. So very sorry. But I know that
We are.
I had that premiere set up. So um, there was people over there watching that. I was talking to him in the chat a little bit. So hopefully they'll come back over here. Um, because tonight is a free for all. Susie and I are just going to talk about whatever. Whatever.
Whatever.
Whatever.
We don't know where we're going to go, do we?
No. I have been sitting here watching a lot of different things about stuff that's going on. There's been a lot of stuff about the Royals in reels and stuff lately, and I have no idea why, but
What do
I
you mean?
find it well, like, that what? How do you say her name?
Kamala?
Camilla, the
Something like
the
that, yeah.
yeah, Charles's wife.
Yeah.
So I found out that
But she's a man? No.
no, well, you never know, but no.
uh, some
um,
people have been saying that.
I found out that Princess Anne, um,
Okay.
the lady that Camilla was married to, or the guy that Camilla was married to,
Oh, so yeah,
while she was
it was a
screwing
guy.
around with
Yeah.
Charles
Yeah.
behind Diana's back, used
Right,
to
right.
be used to be Princess Anne's boyfriend till she found out about that. So she was not liked in the royal family, I think, from the get-go.
Okay.
So there's just been a lot of stuff out there about how, the royal jewels, she wears them all the time. She took a brooch that was supposed to go to William and Kate's daughter and was wearing it. And so supposedly Charles told her that she's not allowed to wear the royal jewels anymore. So
Oh.
apparently he's having problems with his little wifey poo. That's usually what happens. You
But
screw around with them, they act all good while you're screwing around with them, but the minute you marry them, they're like, "Oh, I'm taking over."
okay, so I listened to this, pretty in-depth detailed thing about how the paparazzi um writes about the royals, and then they they if they get certain privileges and they get paid certain amount of money, they will write all good things about them. But whenever they don't get what they want, then they start trashing certain people. And so it's all like a big stage show. So
Yeah.
it's like a TV reality show. They do that for to entertain us and to give them a hard time. So the more that they cooperate with them, it's like it's a big
Well,
dog and
I
pony
was
show.
looking at some of the photographs and the look on his face, and he side eyes her like, "What are you doing? What the hell are you doing?" Like, I guess they went somewhere, and she's supposed to act like Poison Grace, and she was wearing a coat, and she just flipped it and just threw it landed on the chair, and he's looking at her like, "What?" I mean, just slowly moved his head over. What are you doing? You're not a barbarian. So I kind of laughed at that. I was like, well, you that's what you wanted.
I'm sure there's more to that story than
Choke
what we
on it.
know.
Oh,
Yeah.
they were screwing around. I mean, I even knew that before he
Yeah.
even married Diana.
Yeah.
But
I'm sure that's not the only person he's messing around on, just saying.
I don't know. She keeps a leash on him now, apparently.
I don't know.
I'm not out there. I have no idea.
Right?
And all I can
Yeah.
say is he sure did do a step down, didn't he? It's horrible.
Well, he's not like a big catch himself.
Well, that's true. Did you see? Shouldn't really talk about the king like that, but did you see pictures of him when he was younger?
The king. Oh my God, the king. Whatever.
His ears stick out farther than Dumbo's. I'm sorry.
Hey, look, I have a lot of ancestors that were kings, and Henry II was a real asshole, and he was my relative. He freaking locked his wife up in a castle, okay,
I
and
think
then she
most of
ended up
them do
dying
that
up there.
anyways.
And then his son John, who wrote the Magna Carta, his last name was John Lackland. You know why they named him John Lackland? Because he lacked land because his dad wouldn't give him any. Okay,
Right?
so look, those people, I mean, families have been having problems. You can go back far. You know, it's just a big dog and pony show for everybody.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's
I
all it
know.
is.
It's horrible.
Uh-huh.
So I wanted to say I don't know if Abe's gonna do a show tonight. I know that he didn't go to bed until like really late this morning. And I think I didn't go to bed till noon today. And I woke up at 3 o'clock, just hot. They're coming tomorrow to check my AC unit. It may need to be replaced. Um,
Uh-oh.
yeah, it's not, I've lived here 3 years and it's always been, frostbite in my house, but, now it's barely pushing out the air. So I don't know
You
what's
know,
going on with it.
there's a lot of people, Brenda, that and I feel it too. Okay, so I want to talk a little bit about the moon.
The moon
Okay, the moon.
is dangerous the next 2 days, they say. Well,
Well,
not
okay,
dangerous.
so
It's weird.
according to the Bible, I mean, it says that the sun and the moon are like a clock, a timekeeper, right?
Right.
You know.
Yes.
Okay, so everybody tells time from the days, the weeks, the months, years. It's just, and then they use the sun and the moon for that. So that time when Steve came out here and we took those photographs and we saw where the moon was coming up in the east, right?
Right.
And and then after he left a few days later, the moon started popping up over there in the west of not in the east, but in the west, or not north. Okay,
Yeah.
and and then a few days later, it was coming up in the west. Okay, and I'm like, and then it went from the west over to the south. Okay, now it's popped up way over like uh there's like I think 1, 2, 3 degrees between on the compass. I was looking at it between the east and the south, right? And it's like
Right.
a whole degree past the east. So what I'm saying is the moon started did some weird things, and then I had that deja vu when I was talking to you, and I remembered that we had already had this conversation. That, and then I remembered about 2 weeks or 2 months of of uh like events. I just saw it all, but I saw it like this is the third time, so like they reset us the third time, right? And now everybody, and this is what I was going to say, everybody I've been seeing on Facebook and stuff, everybody's been asking each other, have y'all been really, really tired and like sleeping a lot lately? And
Oh,
like,
yes.
and
No,
then
not
one of
sleeping
my
a lot,
friends,
just really tired.
yeah, one of my friends said he literally slept for 36 hours straight, twice
Oh, that
already.
must be nice.
Well, but that's just crazy though. Like everybody's off, you know?
Yes. Actually, Abe and I were talking about that last night. How everything just feels off and dark, different, just not right. Uh-oh, what happened?
Oh, my ear thingies don't want to work right. That one says I don't have much time left on it. So And I
But
bought a
yes,
new
Bree,
one,
it's
and I
yeah,
can't
I
make it
know.
work.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it works. You just gotta probably have Joel hook it up for you.
Yeah. Because I'm illiterate when it comes to this stuff. It's
But
so
yeah,
bad.
it's called the Sturgeon Moon. Yes, Bree, you're right. Um, but yeah, we were talking about that last night because it's so. I don't know. I haven't been sleeping very well at all. Abe said he hasn't either. And even when I do sleep, I feel like I just didn't get any. And I've been so tired and so dragged out over the last few days that I don't even know. I'm just blah. Blah. I'm blah.
Yeah, it's
So,
just everything is like in with the heat, and then I feel like drained, and and I'm
well,
just not motivated. I try to get stuff done, and it's just everything is difficult. I'm just, and it's like, I, hey Bree said, look up the Schulman resonance. I've been watching that too, and it's been like weird, that all these spikes and everything, and oh, and Brenda,
y'all.
I have a family member, and I'm not going to say who the family member is,
Okay.
but he caught wind of something that's supposed to happen on the 15th of August. He's worried about that date, but not sure that it's going to happen everywhere, but
Well,
something major is going to happen
I'm
that he's concerned about.
okay. So let me tell you this. So every time something is going to happen where it comes to political, like right now, they have indictments out and they're supposed to be having these people go in and give their testimonies, and it's going to be the Clintons and, all this. So every time now, I don't want you to listen to this because you can go back and check. Every time something major is going to be discussed like that, they pull some shenanigans. Like the
Oh,
trillions of dollars that came up missing,
like
they were
9/11.
supposed to go to court the day before 9/11 happened. Yes, and then 9/11 happened, and everybody forgot all about those trillions of dollars that came up missing out of the Pentagon because they no longer had the paperwork for it because the plane that they said went through the Pentagon, right? Um, took out the
All the
place where they
evidence is
kept all
gone.
the paperwork. Yes, it's all gone.
Just like
So,
McVeigh and all that, and that,
and every
yeah.
time something like that happens, yes, they have a mass shooting in a school, they have this. So, I'm not going to be surprised if something is not in store that is a false flag. I just the what I was told is be vigilant, keep your head on a swivel, make sure you're armed every time you leave the house. Try not to spend as much possible time in public as you know that you don't have to.
You
So
know, and
I
what
take
we
these
discussed,
warnings
Brenda,
well.
was we discussed a alien rapture, you know,
Oh yeah, and they've been
and
and I'm going to tell you, Susie. They have been using CGI for things in the sky for a
yeah.
long time. So
But I'm
we
talking
just
like a
have to be
real
careful.
rapture, like, a real big abduction, like a huge kidnapping of a bunch of people. But, look at okay, so
Can they go
here's the,
take California? Oh.
it's possible, man. Anything is possible in this day and age. So, here's what my thoughts are. Okay. So as long as I can remember, going to church, all they ever talked about was the rapture. uh, Jesus is returning in the clouds. We're all going to get, sucked up in the clouds and taken in the clouds, and we're going to like vanish for 7 years. It's going to be a 7 year. This is what they said: 7 year tribulation. We're going to go to the feast, sit at the table with Jesus, and have all this great food for 7 years or whatever, and then we come back after everybody kills each other. Okay, basically, that's the Christian,
Well,
well, that's what they say, because 7 years of tribulation, the Antichrist is going to like put people in concentration camps and wipe everybody out. And, everybody's going to go crazy. And, you know, so we're going to be taken away from all that. But So the scripture used to read in the Bible, used to read, doesn't in there anymore. And everybody can fact check this, go in their Bibles and look at it. It used to say there'd be two women out in the field and by the well or whatever, and um, one will be taken, one will be left behind. Okay, so they referenced that particular of what's, like one of them's going to be taken.
Right.
So with all this, like, I think what is the Mandela effect. I think that God is revealing the truth, and the Bible's changing, but it's now changing and giving us things that were hidden from us. So now it's saying the rapture is really, it says it's going to be two men in one bed, which is saying that, two guys
Yeah.
sleeping together in one bed. You know what that means.
Yep.
And one's taken and one's left behind. Now, look, that is completely opposite of whatever the church has been preaching forever. They never preached about two guys sleeping together and one of them's going to get raptured. They would have said, no, they're both sinners and, blah, 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 whatever. So what I'm saying is that to me sounds more like an alien rapture. And I've always said, what have we seen from the beginning of time? We see these big old flying saucers and this little white beam that comes down and it takes people out of their beds, take them out of their yard and goes, and you go up this little elevator, and you get zapped and taken and we've had so many super soldiers come on and talk about the 20-year and back, and they've been abducted, and their minds get erased. They don't remember anything. They've been kidnapped. They've been um, put in a breeding program. They've been put in a cloning program. They've been, and so put in a slave labor program, in a satanic
Right.
situation, and these aliens are not our friends, people, you know. But you know, it's kind of like They Live, that show, or
Oh
you
yeah.
know, my friend said, my family friend, because I'm very good friends with my family member, and so said that he witnessed a whole lot of clones working, like say at a Walmart, okay, and they all the whole Walmarts, they were clones, and they just all got abducted and went into a spaceship on top of Walmarts, and they were all clones. And what they were doing was the aliens, the Greys or whatever, were taking these people, abducting them, studying them, cloning them, and then they were coming back in their bodies and living amongst us like humans. And like this is going on everywhere, and that we don't even know that we've got these aliens walking around us everywhere that aren't even like, they're not even human, but they're in these human cloned bodies that look perfectly, that looked they are human bodies, they're cloned bodies, you know there's no flaw in it. And but yet what's inside of it, it's kind of like somebody, you go to church sometimes. I used to go to church sometimes, Brenda, and, you know
All right,
the
I'm
preacher go to
watching her.
preaching or something.
She's way too interested in me right now. I don't want her jumping on my head and attacking me.
Well, I'd go to these. Yeah, I'm talking about demon possession here in a second.
Yeah,
And you go to these
there it
churches, and the
is.
preacher go to preaching, and the demon would jump out of this person, kind of like the cat trying to jump on you. Um,
Yeah,
and uh, and the demon would start talking and everything, and the person sometimes would be conscious of what the demon was saying, and sometimes the demon had a way of blocking the person's memories, so the person had no idea what was happening while the demon was taking over the body. You know,
yeah.
so I mean, this has been going on forever. I mean, they witness this in the churches everywhere. So I don't know why it would seem so strange when you say it's going on, outside the churches, because it's going on inside the churches all the time. You know,
Even I don't know how your animals have been acting, but like mine have been acting really weird. Um, Putin's been sleeping a lot more than normal, and he's a lazy dog, anyways. But last night, while I was sitting here talking to Abe, my cat was in the kitchen walking around in a circle, just walking around in a circle. And she did that for a good 40 minutes, just walked around in a circle. And I'm like, what are you doing? I thought maybe for a minute she had something cornered in there, a snake or a bug on the floor or something that she was just circling playing with. And I looked, there was nothing there. She was just wandering around in a circle. And Tucker's been extra stupid. I don't know what's been going on with him. He's just been so. Even my
The
animals have been
animals,
acting weird
yeah.
lately. You know, I mean,
Interesting.
it's
Mhm.
like I'm tired, and you know, Putin. Of course, he says when we go to bed, and it's usually about 5 minutes before our show is over. He's on the bed and he's looking at me and he's like, hey, get over here. It's bedtime. But lately, he's been spending so much time in bed, and I've been trying. I will lay down and I can't go to sleep, so I get back up. And boy, I'll tell you, I'm so glad he can't talk because he would probably be cussing me out because I won't lay still. I'm up and down, up and down, up and down. I've even been turning over on my side, which I haven't slept on my side for a long time. And it's so weird. It's just all been so weird lately, overly weird. So,
Well, we've had a lot of fire and water issues on the planet, killing people, and sudden water coming in and flooding. And we had the in Kerrville. That
yeah.
was I mean, it's happened before.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, but it's like it's like we have a lot of earthquakes going on and things that are
And I feel those
mounting
too.
up.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and I
mounting
feel
up.
those too. And it does take a lot of kind of like energy out of me. When like I told Abe last night, I said, and another thing, my ears have been ringing different tones, and like it'll ring one high pitch and then it'll
Right.
go
Mine's been doing
real
that
low
too.
and then it'll stop, and then it'll ring high in one ear and low in the other. Now that don't drive you crazy. And so it's been, Abe said his ears have been doing the same thing.
Yeah, mine have
So
been doing
it's
that.
been, yeah, it's been strange. Hey Scott, how you doing?
Yeah, I just said, "Hey, Scott." Hi, Ivy. Let's say hi to everybody, Bree. Hi,
Yes.
Ivy. Hi, Bree.
Got Ivy, we've got
Bree's
Bree, we've got
my sweet
Scott,
friend. Yeah.
we got Brent in here. Um,
Paul. Hi, Paul. Hi, Brent. We
think
love
it.
Brent. Brent, you're such a loyal fan. We love
I
you.
know it.
We love you.
He is. And
Such a
let's
sweetie.
see. Norma will be dragging herself in here probably a little late because she usually does. But we were late anyway, so we
Right.
were late tonight. I didn't think about it. I should have just I gotta remember to just send Scott the links all the time and then he just show up. We were late tonight, Scott. I had a premiere going though, on a one of my YouTube channels. So everybody was watching it. And then I'm calling Susie going, "Are you coming?" She said, "Where?" I said, "We have
Oh
a
my
show
God.
tonight." She's like, "Oh, I forgot."
Brenda,
So,
we were going to do a show Friday, and then
yes.
we rescheduled it, and then and then with the heat and everything else and all the stuff we're trying to do, and I don't know, man, I just like all this stuff, and then I come in the house and I see, talk to
Yeah,
you, and I'm
last
like,
night.
oh my God, you know what? We have a show, let me
Yeah.
jump in the shower.
talk about talk about last
Oh my
minute
God.
Bessies.
Oh my gosh. I don't know. I don't know what the moon did to my brain, but
I'm
it came
telling
up
you, it's
yesterday.
throwing all of us off.
Hey,
Um,
Show everybody
All
this picture that I took of the moon smiling, and I said, "Mr. Moo is smiling,"
right,
and
hang on a
it's
second.
literally smiling. I'm like, I think because it's happy because when Steve was here, I saw
There you
that
go, Scott.
UFO,
If you want to come
that
up, hit the link.
or that chariot tugging that thing. Okay,
I
and
gotta.
I'm like, and I think the moon is happy because I saw that.
I
I'm
have
happy
to
because I saw that.
find it.
Okay, I'm
Are
gonna
you
wait.
resending it?
I'm gonna resend it to you.
All right.
Let's see.
Yay.
It came up huge. Okay, here it comes. It's coming over.
Possibly.
Yeah. When I get to the page, here we go. Okay. All right, I sent it.
God,
It's
my
so
eye
cute. The moon is smiling at me.
itches.
Yeah.
My eyeball itches. Okay, there it is. I see it now.
I told you that one time the moon. I had a horse dying, and the moon came across my property, and it came over top of me, and I was mad because I heard the moon was a soul trap, and when you die, you see the light like a bug zapper, and you go to it, and then you get mind wiped. And
It looks
can you
like it
see the
has
big
little.
smile?
It looks like it's got eyes and a big smile
Yeah.
and a nose.
Yes, it's got a little face and it was smiling at me. I was like, Mr. Moo is smiling. So,
Mr. Moo. It's got
Mr. Moo,
eyes and a big smile. And a nose.
oh my God.
Hi, Scott.
Hello.
Hey,
How
Scott.
are you? How are you
I don't
doing?
want to, I don't want to show my face. I'm eating. I gotta
That's
I gotta
fine.
eat real quick.
Yeah, well, that's fine.
I didn't want ketchup to get on you.
Be careful your cat doesn't walk through your food.
Yeah, my cat was been meowing like this morning. That cat was meowing. It's got to be the cell phone towers.
Yeah, that's another thing Abe was talking about last night, Suzy.
Yeah.
The are they messing with the cell towers and messing with the frequencies, which I would agree with
I'm
because of
sure.
my
I'm
ears,
sure.
you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm,
I
So
mean,
let me finish my moon story real quick.
okay.
I, so the moon popped up over me and my horse that was dying. And I got up and I looked at the moon and I said, I rebuke you in Jesus' name. And the moon flew through the air and took off to the west like a bat out of hell. And I looked at Roger. I said, "You saw that, didn't you?" He said, "Yes, I did." And he goes, "You're more powerful than you know." And I go, "Well, it made me mad. It made me mad. It came over here and was like spying on me. It should have just left me alone, you know." And I didn't even think anything of it. My life has been so weird, Brenda, that things like that just are normal for me. But it was kind of funny because, man, if you'd have seen how fast that moon took off, it went this way and it cut that way, and it was so I think Mr. Moo is smiling at me now because I'm not rebuking it anymore. Okay.
Mr. Moo.
Mr. Moo.
That was pretty bright for being the moon.
Yeah, it's blood red tonight. Actually, I think I took
Yep,
a picture. I'm gonna send you a picture of it tonight. Wait till you see this.
that's what you
Okay.
were doing. I was waiting for you to jump on the show, and you was out there taking pictures of the moon.
Mr. Moo, yeah, Mr. Moo is really red tonight. Okay, I sent you one. Let's see. All right. Okay, you should have it. Wait till you see tonight's moon.
Yeah, hang on. This silly thing over here. Something started playing. I was like, what is that? I don't know what was playing. But yeah, because we were talking about that last night about all this different stuff and how we were feeling. And oh, wow.
Yeah,
There
that's
you
tonight's
go.
moon. It is red. Look at that.
All right.
It is a blood moon.
Hmm.
And then I
It,
got another one a little closer up. Did you get that one? It's right up
um,
over the trees.
hang on, I'll look. I don't know. You sent me something else. What
No.
on earth is that?
What is that?
I
Let's
don't
see.
know. You sent me some. What is that? Something about the cow and the moon.
Yeah, I want you. Do you see that? It's a joke. Okay, I want you to read it. Okay. Can you read it?
She's
It
got
says,
jokes.
where do thirsty cow astronauts stop to get a drink?
The Milky
Can you?
Way. Oh,
The Milky Way.
God. Yeah, no. Oh, wait. Yes, there's one. That one's closer. That one's bigger. Oh, wow.
Did you think that there was a comet where iron dust is filtering down through the atmosphere, and that's why the sky is red? You know,
Oh,
you think?
I didn't think about that. Could be.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, they're not going to tell. They're they're not going to tell anything about anybody about an asteroid or a comet or anything that's going to hit. No way.
It's been another thing, Scott, that on the 15th, there's August 15th, they're saying we're going to have a comets hitting the ground. Now, it could be a spiritual warfare going on up there with, and debris coming down, could be a bunch of alien monsters fighting each other up there,
Well,
in their little spaceships, their
and
little,
and yes,
yeah.
Ivy, tomorrow is supposed to be really hot. Tomorrow's supposed to be hotter. Susie, you better stay in tomorrow. Don't go out and do all your stuff. It's supposed to be like 109.
Oh, God. Yeah.
Well, probably not where you're at. You seem to stay cooler out there in the country than we do, but still.
I don't know. It's 82 here now, but dang, it was hot earlier. It just sucks the life out of you. It's horrible.
Did you say
yes,
it's 82 there?
Arizona's like 115. I don't know what
Yeah.
it's. I don't know. I don't even want to look at the temperature. It's so bad.
Well, it's only 87 now here, so still a little too warm for me, but that's the way it goes. I think my eye's getting worse because the cat was up here.
Have you guys ever heard of cloud busting?
Cloud busting?
Yeah.
No, I've heard of cloud seeding, but not cloud busting.
Well, I mean, you've probably heard of that Oregon machines that clear up the chemtrails. Have you ever heard of those Oregon machines?
No, they have machines that clear up the chemtrails.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. Yep.
And they don't.
It's been demonstrated too. It's like you can look it up. But I wanted to maybe talk about this cloud busting with your mind.
Oh,
about creating or creating clouds or making clouds invisible with your mind.
Really? That's interesting.
Yeah. Well, here's a little hint. A friend of mine, he worked for JPL, and he retired, and he had a mobile home, but like a 3-bedroom. And one of the bedrooms, you walked in, and it was a library. And it was, this guy was retired, and he had all the occult books, all that stuff. He had been to all the seminars and everything, and he and his wife would go to all this stuff, and mainly in California. So I kind of met him through a dowsing club, where you find the water with the sticks and stuff.
Dowsing
and that's real. That's real.
Oh, yeah.
And, it's called dowsing, or they call it water witching or whatever.
Yeah.
And they still use it, especially in Arizona because of the, the desert,
Right.
So I used to go up to this guy's house. His name was Bob. And so I would sign out the books and, take them home and read because, why pay for a book at a store where, he's got this archive. Anyways, let me get to the point. There were, I believe, 3 volumes of this book by Helen Blavatsky. You ever heard of this woman? She went to Tibet Okay, so she was kind of like, she's like one of the main. She was from Germany, and she went to India, up in Nepal, and she wanted to learn and get the documents and the knowledge of the Tibetan monks about, because remember, Hitler was interested in India, in
Right.
the monks and stuff. Well, I think she could have been even a part of that, but I don't know what year it was. I can't remember. But okay, so there's a small, these books. I kind of like go through the books. I go to the index or the glossary because I'm not. I breeze through the books. I just kind of look at stuff, and I'm not. Because I was kind of on an accelerated course in my mind to kind of like read something and put it up on the shelf, and so there was a small segment in that book, and she talked about this what they call manventeric matter, and it was okay. So you're aware of this thing called the etheric, right? The etheric plane.
Yes.
Etheric, right? Well, this is what it's invisible, okay? But in it, it's whether it's molecules, atoms, electrons, whatever. It's something in. Now, I think it's also linked to this free energy, where they have the towers,
Yes.
the Tesla towers getting the free energy. So, and so I think this is part of it too, but it's an invisible energy field, and this is also, with the Chinese, with the chi energy, they use the chi energy for
Right.
either, self-defense or,
Yeah.
a lot of but they're using their mental, right? When they break blocks, wood,
Yep.
and they punch like it's an invisible punch.
Yeah, like
And
a
they
force.
have a death punch too, and you can get like a heart attack,
Right.
this, martial arts stuff.
It's
So
energy.
it's invisible energy. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So this book and these volumes are they're like that thick. And they're hardbound, and they're like, anyways, she went back to Germany, and I think it was in German that she got a lot of this information from, from India, because India has a lot of this. Sanskrit is the oldest language in the world, and it's from India. All right. So there's probably a lot of books that kind of like cliff notes that you can read where it kind of explains, like a breakdown real quick. But anyways, yeah, these books, and I guess working at that JPL, Pasadena laboratory, he was an electrician, and he's probably got the money, to buy books and stuff like that, because he would go to these seminars in California. It was like they were very ahead of everybody, in this, whether you want a classification of New Age or planetary, people in California like were very advanced,
Everything.
in
Their
nutrition,
everything.
health.
Yeah.
I mean, you name it. People are like, they're like the smartest people, but not, not now, I guess, right? So,
Yeah.
back then, in the 50s and the 60s, and all the ufology, the flying saucers landing in California and all that stuff, right? I mean, there's a lot of stuff, in California. But anyways, let's get back to this etheric. So she classified this matter called manventeric matter. So if you look it up, you probably won't even find it, on the, I don't know, if it's even on the internet or whatever. But what it is books give you this information that that is kind of unique in a way that it goes, because I have a science background, and I can kind of relate to the energy fields or the atoms or the invisible electron neutron structures of certain things that are that are invisible, that we can't
Right.
see with the naked eye. So anyways, so I remember that, and it really dwelled on me. Like, and then there was uh, something about manifestation of using that energy. Well, then I read book from book and led here from there and stuff, and then you know, so you get these little pieces from different books and you put them together, and then you find out, wow, is there an energy through your speech and through your eyes that you can project and you can create or not create. Like even the Bible says, God created the world, the spoken word. There's just these
Yeah.
these abstract hints, but it's like, it just goes in one ear and out the other. It just doesn't get to the scientific nitty gritty. But when you start to see all this energy field, chi energy, because I lived over in Asia, so I had a little understanding about the kung fu stuff, because I saw Bruce Lee in '72 at like the Hilton Hotel. We moved over there as a family, but anyways, the karate and all that, supernatural energy, and it's funny about these Chinese films. They exaggerate everything on these films, meaning the people, like, they jump like 30 stories up high, and it's really funny. You see these Chinese films, but let's get back to the story here. So here's what I wanted to kind of share with you guys. So I started seeing like these clouds, right? So I start to focus. And again, when you read a lot of books, you get this kind of this positive, like, I guess it's, you would call it faith, but I think it's a different word than that. But it's this positive reinforcement, meaning kind of like, well, they did it, so can I, why can't I do it? You know what I mean? It's like, we have this power, and, we're probably now so polluted, by the third eye, by our blood, by a lot of factors where they're poisoned the water, the whole gambit, right? So we're not. I mean, for example, let me give you an example. You go into the forest, right, and you grab a hold of like a conifer tree and just hold it. I mean, and then, or just stay in the forest for a while. What do you feel? I mean, you feel charged, right? You feel charged up, and you take your shoes off, and you feel the pine needles under your feet or whatever, and you're like, you feel cleansed. What I'm saying is, like, whether your aura, but you're absorbing this, I think it's called the negative electrons that are coming off these trees that, and I don't think it's, I think it's the negative, which it sounds kind of like that bad, but in this thing, in this topic is, you read about how trees, like the pine trees, those conifer pine trees, those are the ones with the pine cones and stuff, that, there's an energy field, around. And if you sit, like when I moved here, I used to sit and look at these trees and see an aura around these trees, like a white, with the background. But again, you have to have, like, I used to wear these blue blocker sunglasses, but you see these auras around the thing. So it reinforces you that everything's got an energy around it. It's an invisible energy. So, anyways, this thing about cloud busting, all right, you can look it up yourself. And I read about it too. Then I said, what's the deal with all this, cloud busting, or Oregon machines and stuff like that too. Anyways, so I remember I was in McDonald's with my son, and there was a cumulus cloud. Now, a cumulus cloud is like, it's a cotton-looking cloud. Those cotton, puffy clouds.
Yeah.
I concentrated at that cloud. Now, this is through the glass. This is like through glass. So I'm like looking at this cloud, and I'm concentrating, saying, and I'm using my voice saying, now, is this me or is it something else? Is it the Holy Spirit? Is it an angelic being? Whatever, I don't know. But through the glass, I concentrated and said, I want to, and I asked, or whatever phraseology I used, but I concentrated on the cloud, like, maybe at that time, maybe I was using my third eye, or maybe I was, like I knew about it. So maybe I was, you know, uh, just kind of seeing if that was what I'm doing. But you just go through the process. But here's the thing: is that cloud actually now generally people say, well, Scott, clouds they disappear. They phase in and out, right? You've seen that clouds. You're laying on the ground, and clouds are like, they're up in the air, and they'll just kind of like, they'll fade out.
They'll
But
move
anyways,
and stretch. Yeah.
well, yeah, but they also like disappear. And because of the maybe it's the humidity or whatever's in the the fort. But anyways, so I like concentrating on this puffy cloud, and it disappeared. It phased out. Now here's the kicker. So I said, "Can you reappear the cloud?" And it came back. It came
What?
back. Yeah, yeah. So is that me, or is that communication with a higher power? The Holy Spirit. Because remember, when people heal, when like these back in the 40s when they used to have the tents and they would do these healings, it
Yeah.
wasn't the pastor, it wasn't the minister or whatever doing the healing. It was like
The
it
energy
that
from the earth.
they would call upon, I'm just going to use the phrase, the Holy Spirit energy to go into that woman that was paralyzed or whatever, and they got healed. It was nothing. Even the pastor would say, "It's not me. I'm not doing it." You know what I mean? But you get all the people with that energy field, And what I'm saying, that could be also part of this invisible chi energy, used for a certain,
Well,
intent.
well, I know for a fact, like, one of the things that I'll say every once in a while if I'm around somebody that's absolutely frustrated, I tell them to go out and touch grass and hug a tree. Because, yes, the didn't Susie, didn't you and I decide, or didn't we decide? Didn't we do some study into finding out that the earth is Mother Earth for a reason, and that, you know, it the Holy Spirit is part of the energy in the earth?
Yeah, there's in some of the Gnostic writing, it says that the mother, you have the father and the mother. Okay, the mother is what gives birth to, you know, with the father and mother have children, right? That mother, she dissipated. It said that she entered into the earth, like she's like the Holy Spirit. She entered into the earth so that every element, she will be in every detail of every element, so that one day at the end of the age or whatever, um, everything is recorded by her because she's part of it, if that makes sense. Like,
But
so,
yeah,
there's nothing that God doesn't know or see or feel or understand. In other words,
but the and the earth does hold a lot of energy. I mean, and everything out there is alive. The trees, the grass, the bushes, flowers, everything is alive.
yeah.
And it. I know I used to run around barefooted all the time when I was younger and play outside in the grass. And when you really sit and think about it, when you have kids and your kids are small and they're out there running around in the grass barefooted, they have so much energy. But then when they come in the house, then they're tired.
Well, in our stories tell us that everything living has come out of the earth. Everything.
Yeah, true. So yeah, but yeah, you're right, Scott. You get a lot of energy out there from the trees and grass and nature itself.
Yeah, I mean, I love, I live in Arizona now, and there's not only, you can't go out with this heat, you know,
Yeah,
and, but they do have a lot of pine trees and olive trees and, and parks and stuff like that. And again, it's kind of like this guy, I was like bringing home all these books to read, and just go through them and stuff. And I think a lot of those books that I was reading and stuff, some of them I didn't have, a clue, like, and now I do, because he said, read this book. And I'm like, I don't even know what it means, that kind of thing. And, but now, I hear other people talking about the book or something, these certain books. But it gave me this incredible motivational, positive, like, it's kind of like, don't think like a human, almost like it takes you out of this, that fear, like, again, it's like, well, they did it. Why can't I do it? But they did it. And so it makes in your mind, I can do it, without any kind of, no, I don't think I can do. It's just a book, and I'm not a king, and I'm not a psychic warrior, and you know what I mean.
right.
You just keep all that out of your mind, where you're just like you're full of this like spirit that is like it's on fire, man. You know.
Yeah, and
And
Bruce Lee used to say that, um, be one with the energy. Be one with the earth. Be one with the energy.
yeah,
And yeah, so but in order for a lot of people to be able to do that, they have to know and entrust in themselves. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
exactly,
Yeah,
Brenda. It's like you have no doubt. I mean, it's like I've done it before. That's the mindset you have to have. I've done it before. This is no problem. I mean,
right,
it's like there's not a doubt in your mind. you
right.
know. And I think these people that do the karate, where they break the cinder blocks or the wood or whatever it is, it's mind over matter. It's not strength. So, but it's this energy field that uh, and it's like it's also something to do with there's like heat involved with this too, but I'm just saying, like, I did this with, you know, this was in McDonald's. My kid was playing in the play area and stuff. So I'm sitting, with my books to read because I was like taking care of my son and stuff. But I was always be reading these books, which I got from this guy. But then I saw that, and then I just focused on it, and it was like, again, no doubt, like, and I think it's something to do with like your spirit that's in you, that you're commanding your spirit in the flesh, the physical, and your spirit and your flesh have become one. You know what I mean? Has
Yeah,
become like it's merged. There's no doubt. There's nothing. It's merged. So there's power. Like You can create, and so and then making that cloud appear. Like come back and after spoken words, spirit. Talking. I want to see you reappear. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
again, is that you're working with an angelic realm, which could be, or you're working with the Holy Spirit, which is linked to the angelic realm, and
yeah,
are they happy that you're on that path where they're out, they're guiding you and keeping you, positive, like you're on the right path.
You know,
I mean,
Scott, I'm going to tell you something that a lot of people have a hard time believing. Us as humans, our minds are incredibly powerful. They
yeah, I
really
believe
are.
it.
We have been kept down for so long. We are
Oh
incredibly
yeah, big
strong
time.
people. And that's, I heard something that was disturbing today. Now, I have a friend that lives in Australia, and one of the things that he had told me a while ago was, whatever you do, I hope that you guys never give up your weapons. And I said, not going to happen. I live in Texas. We're born on guns, okay? Um, because he said that was one thing that they allowed to happen there. And now they have nothing to fight back with. So when they get a bad government, the government doesn't fear them. They carry knives. Well, I seen a thing today that said that they are going to take away machetes and different things that they have to protect themselves with once again. And it'll go from machetes to knives to kitchen knives. It's just going to keep going.
Yeah.
So they do that to us. And they do that to everybody to take away the human race's power so that we cannot fight back.
Yeah.
And so we have been conditioned all of our lives in different generations for different things that keep us suppressed, keep us down, keep us unknowledged. We don't know as much as we should. Um, and it's really sad, but we are very, very powerful, and our minds are amazing and can do amazing things. But they don't want us to know that, you know?
Well, it's
Okay,
not,
Brenda.
go ahead.
What, Susie?
Okay, so I wanted to kind of jump on that little bit where you talked about the Holy Spirit and the Mother Earth and all that. That kind of and if you go into the book of Proverbs, Proverbs says that she is the tree of life, right? Wisdom is the tree of life, known as the Holy Spirit, right? So I wanted to read this to you because this is a book called The Gospel of Peace, and it kind of says it really cool, right? And this book was a okay. There was a guy named Edward, I think is how you pronounce it, Bordes Skeezy. Okay, he in 1928, Edward he first published a translation of one of the Essene Gospel of Peace, an ancient manuscript that he had found in the secret archives of the Vatican as a result of limitless patience, faultless scholarship, and unerring intuition. This story is told. This story is told in his book, "The Discovery of the Essene Gospel of Peace," published in 1975. The English version of the book one appeared in 1937, and ever since, this little volume has traveled over the world, appearing in many different languages, gaining every year more and more readers until now, still with no commercial advertisement, and over 1 million copies have been sold in the United States alone. Um, so this guy worked. He was going to be a priest at the Vatican, and he was able to get into the library, found this book, and he walked away from the church, moved to Canada because he said, "How can I believe what the church teaches after reading this book?" So
Oh,
in
yeah.
this book, I'm going to read you part of this book. Okay. Um, So jump up to here. And okay, here it goes. And then many sick and maimed came to Jesus, asking him, "If you know all things, tell us, why do we suffer with grievous plagues? Why are we not whole like other men? Master, heal us that we may be made strong and need
abide no longer in our misery. We know that you have in your power to heal all manner of disease. Free us from Satan and all the great afflictions, Master. Have compassion on us. And Jesus answered, Happy are you that you hunger for the truth, for I will satisfy you with the bread of wisdom. Happy are you that knock, for I will open to you the door of life. Happy are you that would cast off the power of Satan, for I will lead you into the kingdom of our mother's angels, where the power of Satan cannot enter. And they asked him in amazement, Who is our mother? And which her angels? And where is her kingdom? He says, Your mother is in you, and you in her. She bore you. She gave you life. It was she who gave to you your body, and to her shall you one day give it back again. Happy are you when you come to know her and her kingdom. If you receive your mother's angels, and if you do her laws, I tell you truly, he who does these things shall never see disease. For the power of our mother is above all, and destroys Satan and his kingdom, and has rule over your bodies and all living things. The blood which runs in us is born of the blood of our earthly mother. Her blood falls from the clouds, leaps from the womb of the earth, babbles in the brooks of the mountains, flows wide in the rivers, the plains, sleeps in the lakes, rages mightily and tempestuous seas. I guess that's how you say it. The air which we breathe is born of the breath of our earthly mother. Her breath is azure in the heights of the heavens, sought in the tops of the mountains, whispers in the leaves in the forest, billows over the cornfield, slumbers in the deep valleys, burns hot in the desert. The hardness of our bones is born of the bones of our earthly mother, of the rocks and of the stones. They stand naked to the heavens, to the top of the mountains. Are the giants that lie sleeping on the sides of the mountains? I'm like, giants in the mountains? Okay, talk about giants that are sleeping on the sides of the mountain, as idols set in the desert and are hidden in the deepness of the earth. The tenderness of our flesh is born of the flesh of our earthly mother, whose flesh, um, where you go, whose flesh waxes yellow and red in the fruits of the trees and nurtures us in the furrow of the fields. Our bowels are born of the bowels of our earthly mother and are hid from our eyes like an invisible depth of the earth. The light of our eyes, the hearing of our ears, both are born of the colors and the sounds of our earthly mother, which enclose us about as the waves of the sea, as fish, as edifying air of a bird. I tell you in very truth, son is the man is the son of the earthly mother, and from her did the Son of Man receive his whole body, even as the body of a newborn babe is born of the womb of his mother. I tell you truly, you are with the earthly mother, and she is in you, and you are in her. And of her were you born, and in her do you live, and shall you return again. Keep therefore her laws, and none shall live long, neither be happy, but he who honors his earthly mother and does her laws. For your breath is her breath, your blood her blood, your bone her bone, your flesh her flesh, your bowels her bowels, your eyes and your ears are her eyes and her ears. So that's just a little bit of basically letting us know, if you think about it that way, Adam actually had a mother, right? I mean, he was born from Mother Earth, because, right?
Right.
That's what he's saying. Yeah.
Yeah. He was born from, what do they call it? He was born from dust of the earth.
Well, if you go back to, and then let me jump back a little further. So the story of how, God, the original God, creates all the aeons, and they're the authorities, the good authorities. The 12th one is Christ and Sophia, which is Sophia is now called Wisdom, the Holy Spirit. She gives birth to the material world. So that would make sense why the earth would would be from her, and we would be from her. Okay. So we originated from Christ and Holy Spirit. They would be our parents, basically, in that regard, right? Because we came from them.
Oh my gosh, I'm fat and round because my mother is fat and round, like the earth.
Leave it to Brenda to be so funny.
Couldn't help it. Just
Oh,
thought.
Lord.
But yeah, so I mean, I've known for a very, you know, Scott, I went through when I was growing up. I grew up Catholic until I got old enough to know that Catholic was not it. I went from Catholic to a Baptist church. Not quite right. Now, I've always had a green thumb. I love nature, always outside. So I just couldn't find a place to settle in. And a friend of mine told me one day, go get a book, and it is called Wicca for Dummies. Okay. So I got this book. I still have it. The part of Wicca that I got out of it was nature, Mother Earth, the trees, the grass, the water. It is all part of Mother Earth. And it resonated with me very well. Um, animals, everything. So then I had gone into a Christian church. I was okay with that for a little while until I started asking, why is it when you go to church, you're only allowed to hear scripture in the Bible that they're telling you, and they jump from one book to another, missing everything? Why do they do that? And why was I always brought up, don't ever go into the book of Revelations. Don't read it. Don't read it. So I stopped going to church and I got Bibles. And I sat around and started at the beginning and read. And that's when I figured out God didn't cheat. Jesus didn't preach in a church. He preached on Mother Earth, wherever he was, in the desert, in the mountains, on the ocean.
Yeah,
Highways
who
and
was speaking?
byways. Yeah.
Who was speaking to Jesus? Right? Who was speaking to Jesus?
Well,
Right? You know, it
that,
says, I do what my Father does. So he's outside, right? So he's getting his feet planted
yep,
on this, whether it's a negative ground, positive electron, whatever, right?
yep,
So he's, you know, and these guys are wearing sandals too. You know, they're not wearing running shoes. You know,
right,
so they're close to the ground. I'm just bringing up this again, this etheric Mother Nature, you know,
yep,
energy field, and
yep.
I think it's this, and I just wanted to tell you, Susie, what, yeah, that's really interesting because I think I think the energy field is feminine related, possibly, and then the male is kind of the instigator of it. Is
Always.
you know, it's kind of the sexual. It's almost like a sexual. You know, the seed. You know, the planting of the seed into the egg. Right. I mean, I'm just
Right.
using that metaphor, but it's kind of like, and what I'm trying to relate to is that's what I did with that cloud. So I'm trying to think. You know, what you were saying, Susie, is about you're creating this whole uh, uh, area. You know, all the invisible area as kind of this feminine uh, 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 substrate.
Like a
You know,
womb. The earth is like a womb that gives
well,
birth.
yeah, but
Yeah.
you're trying to, like, you know, you're using, you know, that, and I've heard some other people have talked a little bit about that, but I think, yeah, I mean, churches are you know, it's everything. It's all man-made, organized, you know,
Yeah.
and you know, from what I learned, I mean, I was facility man for 3 different churches. You know, I was running 3 churches, maintenance. You know, but I had blinders. You know,
Right.
but even some of these churches, I was waking up and I'm like, you know, don't say anything, Scott.
I know, right? Be sweeping the floor and the preacher's going, and Scott says, well, that's not necessarily true.
I can't go to my pastor and say, listen, I called in, I was on an Art Bell show. You know.
Yeah, there you go.
No way. You know what I mean? That gets back, you know, your job is over. You're over, right. You know. But I think again, you know, all the references is he's going into the temple, you know, and just smashing everything, going into the temple to like destroy this whole man-made Sadducees, Pharisees, all there, and they're going like, how's this guy know? Well, of course, you know, he's being instructed to do this. You know, he's got a mission, and but all you know, he's outside. These people are like living, you know, in this, you know, this outside forest, Gethsemane garden, you know, going to the mountain, to the top of the mountain to pray, you know, and then this thing comes over. It's probably a UFO that's like ministering to them, you know, up in that mountain, the Mount Olives or whatever. Not to get too UFO all about this, but it's, you know, you have to really come to realize that we live in an unfortunate academia world that portrays like we're the only life on this world, you know, and we live in this, you know, constructed matrix, you know, and you know, it's foolish. It's foolish. Even these physicists, they talk about this stuff, and they're, you know,
you know, there's a time and a place to put science in with what is natural and what's there. But I've never really agreed with physicists because I once heard somebody say there really is no need for them. And I thought, well, don't tell them. Don't tell them that.
Yeah.
They'll be kind of upset. But because they make it to where you've got to be open-minded to a lot of different things on this earth. And if you're going to be a physicist and only say, no, it's this because that's what science shows me, it's this. Well, you need a kick in the pants because you need to get outside, touch grass, and go hug a tree because you're wrong. It's not just that. So there's a lot of factors in everything around us, and people get so close-minded on opening up to that, you know.
You know, you're so indoctrinated. Did you guys ever feel? Let me ask you this question. You know, when I went to school from first grade, I never went to kindergarten. First of all, okay, my mom, it was too far away, so my mom let me play out in the dirt with my trucks, you know, and dig and sleep out in the dirt. Take my nap out there, you know, it was out in the country. So it's like she didn't call me in to go to sleep, you know, and I was out in the dirt across the street, you know, and just fell asleep. And I'd wake up and go back to digging, you know. But here's the thing. I, you know, started first grade, and I don't know about you. I was like almost the regimental, and I was always like scared. Like I didn't like, you know, the whole concept. I'm talking about first grade all the way to I've had 4 years of college. All of it was like there was something like maybe third grade we played some cards or we did fun things with cards, but it was not fun. It was not enjoyable. My enjoyable
something was missing.
Yeah, there was something like, you know, it was, you know, you're taught, from day one, this whole academia matrix stuff. And my funnest thing was my bike was outside the schoolyard and it wasn't locked up, and I had a plastic bag over the seat in case it rained. And the funnest feeling I had, I got on the bike to ride home, on my bicycle with the wind blowing in my face, and the pedaling, it was like glorious, the feeling,
Right.
like I'm out of prison, like I'm out of prison, first grade, I don't care what grade it was always like that. Is that weird? I mean, did you guys ever feel kind of that euphoria, like get out of school, class?
I know that when I was in elementary school, the place I went to school at, they had a beautiful yard, lots of trees. And I used to have one teacher that used to have us get our books, and we would all go outside and sit around in a circle in the grass under the trees, and we would read and do our work outside.
Wow.
And that was the only class I think I ever felt
See?
comfortable in,
See?
So yeah, you're correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It just, I don't know, maybe, being out, sitting on the earth or being outside, you're influenced by the angelic realm, maybe, maybe there's they have I don't know, I'm just bringing that up, but I mean, it's kind of like, maybe there's a connection to that where, you're in a building and it's, there's this, I don't know, constraint of some sort. And I just brought that up because I just look back on like my education. And it was like, to be honest with you ladies, a total waste of time.
You guys know, do you remember when we were younger, as we started to grow older, they started saying, well, you can't have lead paint on the houses or anything like that because it'll make your kids sick if they eat it. Well, first of all, why are people letting their kids go eat paint? But do you know why they removed lead paint?
Yeah.
They removed lead paint because they can get, they removed lead paint because now all of these electric things that they got that are going off, the 5G towers and all that, if our houses were painted with lead paint, it helps reflect it.
If you have a lead painted house, they cannot use certain camera equipment to see through into your home because of the lead.
Yeah, the microwaves. Yep.
Yeah.
All that.
I was at a church. I was at a church and the pew was painted. They paint it. It was lead paint, and I got in there. I put my initials in. I went back and Googled. This was in Virginia. I went back. It was a Catholic church. I grew up kind of Catholic. And so me and my, you go to county. I just brought a short story up just for the lead paint. Is me and my sister went to my mom would drop us up for this catechism, right? Which was like talking about what I just talked about being like, I didn't like it. I mean, this was like ×5, right? I mean, like, oh my God, going to school on your days off, Saturday and Sunday. And it was like, what we had to learn and stuff. And I'm like, I'm not even academia. I'm not even academia now. But so it was canceled. So me and my sister had to sit in the church for like an hour, But I got up there. I got up there in the pew, I went SB, like.
But they have known.
I didn't want teeth, because when you're little, you're kind of always gnawing. I mean, I was always hungry. I would eat dirt. I'd eat the red clay, the yellow clay, and barks. I mean, we didn't have much to eat. I mean, I had two other sisters, 2 other brothers. So whatever snacks we had, it was gone by the time I got to it. So I would go next door to the where my mom kept the broom, and we had a dog and cats and stuff, and she had the dog biscuits, so I'd grab the biscuits, the milk bones, and eat
Right.
those, the
Yeah,
red ones.
my grandmother used to feed us that too. She would go, "Here, you want a snack? Have a milk bone."
I put my pockets with those milk bones and I go play baseball, but in that church, I carved my initials, right? So, I went back in that Google map, you can get the pictures inside the church. Well, they had stripped it, off, I was thinking, God, are my initials still there?
I know, right? But yeah,
Oh,
that's why they removed lead paint. So they have known about all of this stuff. That this is all this stuff was done by design. This wasn't something that just happened. They have
Everything is done to separate us from the God source, and the truth.
yes,
Yeah.
yes, absolutely.
yeah. Control. I mean, yeah. I'm just admitting to you gals that from first grade onward, if I had a tutor and we went into nature and we went, here and we learned this and that and, all this stuff. No, I would have been, I would have had a PhD.
Now, my doctor and I are fixing to fight. My doctor and I are fixing to probably fight. I love my doctor. He is very, very good. It may not be a fight once I tell him, but I found out because he wants me to go and get that annual mammogram. But I found out that they put more crap. I know what it's called.
What, the
I'm
gel?
so tired. No,
The gel?
no, the actual X-rays itself, the radiation. They put more radiation in a woman's body when she gets a mammogram opposed to having a sonogram.
Which is going to cause cancer. Yeah.
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 And,
they're doing it.
Yeah. And then they also say that those swabs they use when a woman goes to the gynecologist, that those are filled with chemicals that cause cancer. And it's like, they just do things to make sure they keep us as sick as possible.
And keep their jobs.
Because we're beneficial that way. We make them money.
Yeah.
And it's like,
I took one of my cats, I have another long hair, had terrible mat. So I called like 5 or 6 hospitals, vets and stuff. And I already went through one where, it cost me a couple $100, just like something to I found out the cat's got diabetes. So, it's got, they did the blood work on it. Anyways, long story short. Wow. So I go to this place yesterday to get the cat done. I'm just changing the subject matter for a little bit, but it's relating to vaccines. So the girl gives me a quote, of all the stuff, what the cat needs, right? And look, I'm a male and I don't know too much about
female stuff.
Not a female thing, but I'm just talking about, the doctor's visit to an animal clinic of all these types of things. Now, the cat had not had a rabies shot, and I had a vet, but they went out of business, and then, they lose the records. It's like, it's ridiculous, And then you have to have updates. Here's the thing. An animal has to have a rabies shot, to go in and see, to get stuff like that, right? So anyway, she's giving me this list of all this stuff. And I'm like praying, I'm saying, Jesus, help me get through this, because I know they're going to try to pressure me, on getting this for the cat, that for the cat, this, and the cat's over 10 years old, this one. And
does it go outside?
She's a real, what's that?
Does she go outside?
No, they're all indoor. I got 2 indoor cats. But this one's like a bob. This one's like, I think it got taken away from its mother early. So the cat is very, attack mode. Yeah, just vicious. And so I prayed, so this girl's coming back with all this stuff, right? So in my mind, I have to use my discerning to say, you know, I just want this, because the whole thing is I got to get now the cat's got to be put anesthesia. It's got to put anesthesia because this cat is
Oh,
it's
wow.
not manageable. And I didn't buy a helmet, or, you know, I didn't give the cat food, and I don't want to do that. I just, you know, so, you know, you're going through the prerequisite, like, you know, the cat could die, you know, whatever, you know, being put under. So
Right.
anyways, long story short, so they're coming out with a bill like $900, you know, for
Oh.
all stuff. Now, this is the vaccinations, the rabies, the nails, you know, the haircut, you know, the whole shebang. This cat needs everything. I mean, you know, major stuff. So I'm going like, you know what I said? No vaccines, no vaccine. Just give me the rabies shot, you know, to clear the cat, you know. And then you know, they put this cat anesthetized, so they cut the cat. You know, they did a lion cat. I said, cut all the hair off, all the hair off, not a lion cut.
So many rabies shots have proven to give cancer to the animals. You have to be very
Well,
careful.
I know, but I have no choice. You know, I have no choice with these.
When you have
these
to have something done.
you know, they're all Nazis, and you know you know, it's a big business. It's a big business.
Oh yeah.
You know, I had a cat, another cat. The cat didn't. I didn't take the cat. It was an alley cat, and I brought it in. The cat was clean. Never had shots. I just asked, like, you know, is this cat? And this was this was an outdoor cat. She lived 15 years without anything, without anything, nothing, nothing. You know,
she was probably hugging on Mother Earth.
Well, but anyways, so, you know, so the cat came back with a stupid lion cut. So she's got the hair around the neck, you know, like, and then the tail's got you know, like a lion, right? A bush, you know. I said, cut all. They didn't do it. But what I get, thank God, because, you know, that mat, it causes extreme pain on a cat because it's, you know, it's pulling from their skin.
Right.
Plus she's diabetic, and she's like, not skin and bones, but she's getting there. So I'm trying to, like, get a new nutritional thing. But what I'm getting to, again, getting back to your doctor mammogram stuff, you know, it's this vaccine, you know. So
the cats, and they gotta have this.
Yeah, it was 900 to 400 then, or whatever it was. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Still.
Like, crazy, you know. Oh my God, Scott.
Crazy.
You know.
Well, I know that when I first got Putin, I took him into, because we have this place down here called Emancipet, and basically they fix your animals, and it's really low cost. Okay, like for a big dog you pay $65, and that's for the vaccine and fixing, and you know. So I tried to take him there, but he had a problem. He had one testicle that was wedged, and it wasn't going to fall. So they couldn't fix him because they had to do a different type of surgery to be able to take it out of where it was wedged. So I had to take him to a regular vet. And I took him in there, and of course they're asking me, do you have any of his shots? I said, look, I got him from a girl who bought him on an impulse. The owner was a veterinarian. I'm pretty sure he does have them. I just don't have the records for him. Well, we have to do it before we can fix him. And I'm thinking, oh my God, because here this thing, when I got him, he weighed like 3.5 pounds. So I told him, all right, well, you know, you're not going to fix him without it. I know that if this testicle stays wedged, it can cause cancer, and that won't be good for him. So we'll go ahead and do it. So they did that. And while he was under, they pulled a baby tooth because it was the only baby tooth he still had left. They went ahead and pulled it, and they fixed him. They did a good job, only he had a big cut all the way up his abdomen because apparently it was stuck really high up in there in his ribs. I don't know what they were doing and what it was doing up there in his ribs, but you know, so they did all that, and I think his vet bill cost, it was like almost $600 for everything. So do you not know that every year that vet sends me something? Oh, it's time for this. Oh, it's time for that. And I delete because he ain't going back.
And they're it's their job, like what are they gonna
Yeah.
when they quit? It's being a vet is like, it's a doctor's degree thing.
And my dog, like Tucker, only goes outside to use the bathroom, and he's on a leash out front with somebody. And Putin, he goes in the backyard, or when it's too hot, because like right now, because he's a very thick-coated dog, he has this little kennel thingy that has he's got potty pads, and he goes in there and he uses his potty pads, and we wrap them up and throw them away. So they don't even really go outside, and they're really not around any other animals ever. I mean, I understand Suzy has to do her dogs, but they're out there in the wilderness and they're playing with, God knows what out there, and they're fighting off wild hogs, and they're, so you got to make sure that you keep them safe and make sure that they're okay. But because you can't really half the time take that chance. But I had a guy I used to date. His mother had a cat, and his mother's cat stayed in the house. Do you know that cat lived 25 years old? Now that poor thing, when you pet her and she moved, you could like feel her bones crackling. But she was so old. And she just took her down to have her put down. And I said, why did you do that? She's lived to be 25. Just wait till she kills over on her own. She's probably going to outlive you. I mean, but
well,
she was
sometimes I had a cat.
Anything. She never had anything.
Yeah, this alley cat that I had, no shots or nothing. She lived 15 years, and so the cat started meowing like in pain, like the cat had cancer or something later. And I knew this is a spiritual thing. What I did is the cat's under the bed and the cat is crying. And I said, "Dear Lord," I said, "God, have mercy on this cat. Please take this cat tonight. Please take this cat to heaven. This cat's been a really good, it's a female, really good cat, and, it was a good, indoor, outdoor cat. And so the next morning, I walked out in the living room or whatever, and the cat had tried to jump up on the sofa and just froze like that, right on the sofa, rigor mortis, like it was like midair, and then like hit the sofa, like, jumping up and just like that, and, but what I'm trying to say is I prayed that, and God took that cat.
Wow.
You know what I mean? The cat was like, because I are earnestly honest, very positive, and honestly said, God, please, I don't want this cat going through this pain anymore. I mean, it was a very heavy prayer because I could hear the pain of this cat, you know what I mean? Crying out, and it's like nothing gets you more, because even my other cat that you've seen, going back and forth, like I was telling you at the beginning of the show, this cat has been meowing because I think these cell phone towers are affecting their nervous system or their ears. And it's happened a couple of times, and I'm going, like Putty, like I've got a bunch of names for the cat, what's wrong? What's wrong? And it's like there's nothing physical wrong, but it's kind of like it's they don't go like, oh, it's in my ear, they don't, they can't tell you anything, but they're not hurting, but it's something that you can tell it's something invisible that
there's something irritating.
There's no cats outside, they're not in heat, none of that stuff, where
right.
The cats will if another cat's in heat or something, or other cats are out there, they'll hear, and they do different stuff. But there's nothing like that outside. So again, but yeah, it's like I prayed. God took that cat, and I'm going, thank you, God, so much, for the cat. And the cat was like, had rigor mortis or something in it, but it was like kind of a weird, it was kind of a shocking, to see a cat like it was stuck, like jumping up, on the couch,
Oh
like
man.
barely made it, but it was like just froze, like I looked at the cat going like, what?
Are you all right?
Why? No, I mean it's so sad. It really is sad.
Yeah.
But it really God does answer prayers, and He's probably got, like I prayed when I brought the cat in, my son's cat. I prayed to Jesus. I'm in there and I'm going like, please, Lord, have these people understand, guide them. Because you don't know who these people are. You go in there and so and you're going to a different vet again. So that means, like they're trying to sell you this big bill,
Yep.
trying to get you involved with all this stuff. Now I am going to look into that diabetic food for the cat, and then going to PetSmart and getting, the type of food, the certain food. Anyways, long story short, but what I'm saying is, you go into these offices and it's like your only hope. I mean, before I never really did that before, but your only hope is like praying, because you're like, people are like, so you kind of like you get away and you're like, you have to, and to hopefully to have some kind of a positive outcome on this whole thing,
Right.
because prayer works, and you have to believe that wherever you're doing, like Abe was saying the other night, you have to pray all the time, whatever you're doing and stuff. I mean, his side of what he's involved with, not necessarily what I'm involved with, but it's kind of like, anyways, I'm just gonna go ahead. I'm just take the floor. I'm
Yeah.
done.
And I mean our pets are like our children. They're like our children. I know mine are. My animals are so spoiled rotten. I couldn't give them away to anybody else. People probably put them down, and I can't deal with this. But they're just spoiled rotten. I had a friend give me. She had got a German Shepherd, and his mother was the #1 canine in Austin, and he was huge and beautiful. Wasn't even a year old, and he his back stood up to my hip, and he was just a big boy. And when I got him, he was real nice, real friendly. German Shepherds are escape artists, though. He fit between a entertainment center and a wall this big, and opened a living room window and went outside and was out in the yard waiting for me to come home. But I would take him to work with me because he had anxiety issues, like abandonment issues. So I would take him with me everywhere I went. Well, he started to go after people at my work. And so I would tell everybody when I'm in my office, knock on the door so I have a chance to grab Raz so he doesn't hit you. Well, I'm in my office one day doing work, and all of a sudden my door flies open and it's the boss. And what does the dog do? So I took him into the vet, and I'm like, look, I don't know what's wrong with him. He goes, well, we can give him medication to calm him down. I said, so you want to give him something to make him walk around stupid? Is that what you're saying to me? He goes, well, there's something going on with him. And I said, yeah. So after a while, it started to get to the point where he was getting worse. So I took him back to the vet, and the vet did blood work on him. He said, there's something wrong, and I can't pinpoint what it is while he is alive. And I'm like, what? So you want to put him down to see what's wrong with him. And then if it's nothing and it was something you could have fixed, then you killed my dog. Well, come to find out, we had him put down. He had brain cancer in a spot in his brain, and the vet looked at me and said, had you have not put him down, this dog would have attacked you and probably ate you because you're all but not even 100 pounds, and this dog outweighs you. And they couldn't find that out until after, because they had to, where it was, they had to take his brain out and open it. And that's where it was. But they said it was in a spot, and that's what was making him start to be aggressive. And he said eventually he would have turned on you. And I'm like, oh, well, that's just great. So I went
Yes.
against my better judgment on doing what they wanted me to do, but it ended up turning out to be for the better, because that dog could have killed me in a heartbeat.
Well,
I
they're guard
mean,
dogs. They're bred. They have that breed.
oh, he
They.
was beautiful.
Yeah.
And he was so good when I first got him.
I think.
And
Do they hate cats too? Because we had a German Shepherd, and
well,
we got that.
you've got to raise animals together. If
Yeah.
you raise them like, my Yorkie, I got him a few months after I had my cat. So they were raised together.
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah.
my male dog, I got him young, and the only dog that he really ever likes is the dog he's with. But he don't like my cat, but he doesn't attack her. He just kind of he just gets stupid with her, but just smack the crap out of him. But if you get animals and you raise them together, and then let's say you have a dog and you have a cat, and your cat passes away, you get another cat, that dog won't hurt that other cat.
Yeah.
Unless you get dogs like at Suzy's house who like to play with their horse's hooves and don't learn anything.
I have probably 20 dogs, and we have one cat, and we have a lot of horses and cows. And
Yeah.
horses, you have stallions, and if you raise stallions together, they can coexist. But if you try to like buy a new stallion and bring it in, they would try to kill each other. I mean,
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah.
but that when they grow up together, they kind of learn to respect. But and bulls, I have several bulls, and they kind of were raised up and they headbutt each a little bit, but they all get along. But dogs dogs get in packs, and that can be a problem, because if one goes after it and the other ones go after it, then that other poor dog's got a pack of dogs. So dogs are can be kind of
They're pack hunters. But they also do that with females, like with humans, because like in my house, my dogs look at Jack. Jack is the alpha male, and they both bow to him. My dog, he gets all bossy with me, and when he wants me awake, he stands on me and slaps my face with his paw. But I go to pick him up, he runs from me because he thinks it's funny. But now if Jack comes to pick him up, he automatically sits down and looks up and just allows him to. So they do it with humans too. They find that, like your dogs, the way they like Roger, Suzy, probably to your dogs, Roger is the head of the pack.
right. Well, lately, what I don't know what is going on, but Freedom is he's the alpha male, and but Scooby's been fixed. But all of a sudden, everybody's turning on Callie. Callie is a Pyrenees lab mix that belongs to Roger, right? And she's older now, but she's
Yeah.
the toughest, strongest dog, but she's getting up there in age. And the last couple weeks, Freedom went over there and got in an argument with her, and then they all kind of jumped on her. And I mean, it's like weird. They've never done that before.
I,
So
I
went
think,
ahead and ordered some more shock collars and some zappers.
well,
And
maybe, how
Joel,
old is she?
well,
How
Joel
old
put
is she
the
now?
collar on Freedom today, and so
Uh-oh.
that way, basically, if Freedom goes over there to start any shit, he's gonna go zzz, and it has a beeper, a buzzer, and a zapper. So and you can shut the zapper, so you don't even have to zap
Right,
them.
you can use. Well, I have a. I did mine didn't have a zapper for Putin. It just had the buzzer and the beeping, for his barking. And when I first used it, the first couple times I used it, he was like backing up, like, "What is that?" But now
It
I can put that
works.
thing on him and turn him all the way up, and he's like, "Yeah, whatever," and he continues to bark. He's so stubborn. Chihuahuas are
Well,
stubborn. Just
you might
saying.
want to have a good collar. I actually got these on Amazon, and they were you get two collars, the remote, and the charger for $55.
Yeah,
It
I
was
I
pretty good.
can't. The vet told me that I probably shouldn't use shock on him because of his long hair. It could burn him. It could burn his hair.
It doesn't fit properly. But ours, the ones we got, these ones here, I don't know about the older ones, but these ones are working great. And with our long hair dogs, and
How old is Callie now?
uh, she's up there.
Because
She's
I'm gonna tell you
huh?
when you have pack dogs like you have, when an older one is getting to the point where it's getting weak and the others know it's gonna pass away, they
Well,
usually will turn on it.
it's just that with Callie is she's like the toughest one, right? And she's older, and so now I don't know. It's just they're dogs. People don't
Yeah,
realize dogs are dogs no matter how well trained you have them. They're still
yeah.
dogs. Okay. So they do stupid stuff. Okay.
Well,
And
they do that in the wild. Wolves, coyotes will do the same thing when they get it to where the elder one is just old and they know it. They will turn on it. So
well, if you have okay, let's just say Callie's always been the top of the pecking order. She's the
right,
boss. And now
right.
she's older, and so Freedom feels he can challenge her to
Oh
put her
yeah,
in
freedom's
place.
the boss.
But the problem is the other dogs go in there and work, because they pack up.
Yeah, they pack
So
up with them.
she's
Yep.
got a disadvantage now
Yeah,
because, she's got like six dogs attacking her at once. What is she going to do?
right. And
So, but
and
they're going to go
freedom,
zap, 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 and then
I don't know,
zap,
freedom's
and
pretty
real,
smart
huh?
because freedom ran away from home for a day when you told him you were going to take him to get him fixed. So I'm sorry, that
What
dog
did he do with
thinks.
that? He disappeared for like 20 hours because we
Yeah,
were had an appointment to get him neutered.
he was like, nope, I'm out. I'm going to miss my appointment. I won't be there.
Yeah, yeah, I remember that now. He's like, I want my freedom.
Yeah, because you told him. You should have never told him. You hinted. You said, freedom.
But
You
yeah, I
had
mean,
that talk with
you
him.
always have to like be one step ahead of your pets, and you have to work with them, and they have personalities, and I have
Oh,
to get on.
yeah.
Like when I feed them, and one of them gets a little bit greedy on the food, and I'm like, no, no, they go to growling, and you just gotta stay on them,
Right. Don't
But they
make
have
me get
their
the
own personality.
newspaper.
Yeah, you know,
Man.
every one of them is different,
Yeah.
Like, my best dog just died the other day. She got kicked by a horse.
Yeah.
Okay, a border collie, and that was pretty devastating because everywhere I went, she my four-wheeler with me. She'd ride on the back. I'd get on the riding mower, and she'd be jumping on the riding mower to be with me, you know. And yeah, so you you love them, but
Uh,
they get into trouble sometimes, and
yeah.
it's her instinct to chase horses and cows. You can't stop them. I mean,
Right. Oh, I know that.
you know,
I know when I was out there, the first morning, it wasn't raining that bad. And I happened to look and I said, Penny, she goes, what? I said, you got two dogs out here aggravating the crap out of this horse. She goes, not again. So she gets up and she goes out there and she's yelling at him, leave it alone. She calls Roger. So Roger had to go over there and chase, I guess it was Diggers and one of the other dogs. And they were nipping at the feet. And yeah, they were having themselves a good old time.
Yeah,
But
they wake up in the morning and they like, oh, let's go chase a cow or a horse. You know, like, yay, let's go to work. It's our job. That's what we're supposed to do. You know, they love it.
Silly pups. Those white ones are beautiful.
My sister has those border collies. You know, that's all she's had. She's had, I don't know, man, 2, 3, 4 of them. She's always had dogs in her life. She's back in North Carolina, and but man, I you know, that long hair. Man, I don't know. You know, it's
well, they have their short hair, medium hair, and long hair, and ours are they're short. Some are short, and some are medium. We don't really have any long hair border collies.
Well, Freedom's got more than the rest of
Freedom has a little more fluff. Yeah.
Now,
Scott,
she has 2 of her border collies came out pure white.
I have 2 pure white ones.
They're gorgeous.
I'm gonna send you a picture, Brenda, and you can put it up. Okay.
Yeah, they're gorgeous.
I had a Brittany Spaniel. A Brittany.
Oh, yeah? Yeah.
As a puppy. Hardest thing I ever raised in my life.
I used to work at the kennel, and we had cocker spaniels. We had show cockers. And matter of fact, I was in San Francisco at a dog show with them when that big earthquake hit. And it dropped the highway, so we couldn't leave. And the dogs were jumping out of their pens, and my boss is going, catch the dogs, catch the dogs. And I said, screw them. I have 2 legs. They got 4. They'll be all right. It was bad. I've never seen.
Is that the Northridge earthquake, right? Yeah, because I lived in Santa Cruz. I left a year before that.
Yeah.
You know, and I think God led me out of there because I wouldn't have had a job, you know, if I was still there. Because everything there was, you know, it's old brick buildings and stuff. You know, everything was, you know, demolished. You know.
Well, I'll tell you, I'm used to earthquakes because I grew up out there, but that one I have never seen the ground split and open up and shut. And I was like, oh, yeah, no. To me, that was a fast track way to hell. That's all I can say.
Yeah.
Okay, let me show these puppies. Show the puppies.
Yeah.
I love the Brittany's hair. It was a short hair, you know, with the cocker ears. Wow, that doesn't even look like, that almost looks like a
Yeah.
She's like,
they're pure white. They're beautiful dogs, really.
And she's got the black and white ones. Those are her
white puppy. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the newest one. She's got red and white ones and black and white ones, and then she's got them 2 white ones. And I love those white ones, man. I just wish that I could have got around them while they were real young.
Yeah, I'm really 2 little white ones. I think the one has like a dark nose. The other one has a pink on the nose. I think I'm going to call that one Pinky, and I'm not sure. I don't know.
Look at her.
The one.
She looks happy. She's got a smile, and she's like them big old ears.
They are the most happy puppies.
Yeah.
Is that normal? Those ears being up, you know, or is that just like they're in the alert, you know, hearing stage? Like
You have the ears that tip over and the ears that stick up, so you can have either way on border collies. It just
Yeah,
depends.
look at that.
Some people, prefer the ear sticking up, and I mean, it
How
depends.
how old are the white ones now?
Oh,
I think they're
maybe,
probably only about maybe 7. Are they about 7 or 8 months?
I don't know. I'm not sure how. They're not that old. They're still puppies, but they are so cute. I mean, they are. I sent you a picture of Freedom, their daddy. You can show his picture. He's got a little bit heavier coat. There he is, red and white.
Yeah, he's a red and white. He's something, boy. He likes to come over and put his head on the arm of my wheelchair and let me pet him, and he looks at me like, "Hi." He sure. Well, the summertime, I guess, has thinned him out because he sure was big and furry the last time I seen him.
Yeah, summertime they shed out a little bit, Then the wintertime they get a heavier coat.
Yeah, and I was there. It was wintertime when I was there, so yeah.
what about the ticks and fleas? You have a problem with that?
Um, in the beginning of the year we had a little bit of problem with the ticks, and then now we got it under control, and it's not too bad right now. I mean, this year hasn't been too bad for us, but we put out some of that diatometry earth, the
Yeah.
food grade one, and that really helps when you put that out all over your soil. It's all natural, and it gets rid of the fleas and the ticks and everything in your yard.
Yeah, I lived
Yeah.
in Florida, and there's a tremendous problem with fleas in Florida because it rains, every day.
Yeah,
And
we
I
get a
mean,
lot of.
we had several dogs, and we'd cut them real short. It was more like my sister's dogs, but we had to dip that dog, because of the fleas are just incredible there,
Yeah,
incredible.
they can
I
get.
mean, and that
They can get
stuff, it smells like a skunk. It's some kind of stuff, you dip them, and probably not good for them, but it smells like that skunky smell. And man,
ew.
you see those dog fleas, and you know what's even worse are cat fleas, because when they bite, those cat fleas, they're like worse than dog fleas. I mean, oh my God, I've been through a lot of this different stuff,
I
fleas,
I don't
all.
I don't
Oh
do
my,
fleas. I do not do fleas. And I don't even understand what happened. I mean, Susie gives her dogs, flea preventative and stuff, right? So when I had gone over there, the fleas were like, hey, we can't get at these dogs. Look at this big little furry warm thing. So I sat and I sat in there, and I must have picked 100 fleas, and I'm picking them with my fingers, and I'm killing them because I can't do fleas. When they bite me, I have a reaction to them, and I get big whelps. I don't get those little flea bites. I get big whelps. So I can't do fleas. So I have to keep mine on flea preventative because I don't want fleas in the house because the problem that you had with your cat trying to take it to get a bath or anything, yeah, good luck with mine also because mine will eat somebody's face. So she can't get fleas because she cannot be bathed. Not going to happen. So, yeah, she doesn't no. No. She
yeah,
had
I mean, Arizona is pretty, it's like a concrete jungle, but there's very few ticks or fleas. It's only
right,
in certain, the alleys that they have a lot of,
right.
bushes. And and I had an episode with that, but it was almost like these, like ticks would come out. They're like the locusts. They come out like every 7 years or something,
Right.
high numbers, and you
You
don't know
know,
that. But,
Yeah,
they're pretty.
I
It's
used to
pretty.
live next to a cotton field, or down the road was a cotton field. What I hated was when the tarantulas migrated because they would be hundreds and thousands of them all over the roads, and you would be driving and you would just hear crushing them, and they would be jumping up on the hood of your car while you're driving. I'm terrified of spiders, so that was not very good for me. Hey, there's some of the herd.
There you go. There's a few of them. Yeah, Scooby Doo and a few of them, Freedom in there.
They're just all hanging out.
Today about right now we don't have really any fleas at all and no ticks, and so right now we're in pretty good shape.
Yeah, they're like, it's too hot.
Yeah. So,
They
but
don't
we
like it.
did treat everything earlier this year. So,
Who is that next to Scooby?
where?
See where Scooby's got his head down, and then one of the
Yeah.
dogs is over there next to Scooby's head. The black
That
and
was
white.
one of Lily's puppies. She's
Oh, okay.
yeah, and then the little yellow dog is, and then those were that was that one dog that we found as a stray. She had that pup. That's a pup that we still have.
The white one, the white fuzzy looking one,
That's
or
the dumbest
yellow
dog
fuzzy looking one.
right there.
It is. I remember when I went over there, I tried to give the dogs treats, and that one wouldn't take one from me, like it wasn't going to take a treat from a stranger.
He'll pet her and he'll go, "You're just the dumbest dog ever." And he'll be petting on her, and I'm like, "Joel, you're too funny, man. You just give her a lot of loving." But he goes, "Mom, she's just so dumb."
Oh, he hasn't met Tucker yet. He's going to be, this dog is retarded, Mom. Yes, he is. He's a very special. He's a
But
very
it doesn't matter if they're
special.
smart or dumb. We just love them all.
Yeah. He's our special ed kid. I need to get him a helmet so when we take him in the car, he doesn't hurt himself. He tried to jump out the window while I was driving. I was like, "What are you doing?"
Oh man, has a panic attack.
Right. Yes. He panics. Calming treats don't work. The only other thing I can use for him if we go to travel with him is a hammer, and I'm not going to do that because he's just, oh my God, he's all over the place. He doesn't know what to do with himself. Like I said, we don't take him anywhere because he barely knows how to act when he's at home. He definitely doesn't know how to act in public.
Right.
At all. He goes to the groomers and she laughs because he'll be like all excited. The minute she walks out and walks up to the door to get him, he tries to run. She's like, "Oh no, don't you run from me." It's like, God. So, but all right, guys. Well, we're going to go ahead and call it a night.
Okay, cool.
I am exhausted, and I don't know if Abe's going to have a show or not. Probably, hopefully not as late as he has been, because I know he has spent the day today out with his granddaughter. They went to Topsy Ranch. It's like a drive-through. They've got goats, and they've got monkeys in a cage, and then they've got zebras out there. And you can
animal day today or something, because we're over here talking about all our animals, and everybody's into the animal. It's an animal day. What is that?
It's an animal day. It's an animal day.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Hey, even that cat, that the one that got shaved, she came up. I think she's like listening. I think she probably likes women's voices.
Could be. She could be a woman cat.
And the cat, actually, I mean, if you could see the cat, it came by a couple times, but she came up, up on the chair, and then I tried to get the camera, down to look at it. But it's kind of ironic that, because the other one is kind of like, I'm Scott's cat, kind of thing,
Yeah, right.
This cat,
I'm the dude cat.
But I've been trying to get real nice to her too, like like talk to her and stuff. And then I told her about getting the haircut. Like we gotta, like talk like a human, And
right. She's like, no.
But and then the thing of it is you can tell when they get that haircut or this mat off. how happy and
Right.
thankful we
They feel
are.
better. Yeah. Mine are like
And
that too when they come home from the groomer. It's like they feel
they're
good.
showing their appreciation. I think
Yeah.
that's why this cat came up just tonight, was hearing you guys, but just, we're talking and the cat came up, and usually it's, I'll bring a treat, or, I open up the drawer, they hear the drawer, the treats or whatever. But, like, she came up, just to say like, well, thanks a lot for taking me over there. I didn't like it, but
I'm just now waking up. I am no longer groggy.
oh my God, but
Yeah,
Yeah,
mine do that
I
when.
sent you a picture of my heart. I just sent you
Your
a picture of
heart.
my heart.
Oh, your heart.
My
Everybody want
heart.
to see a picture of Susie's heart?
Yeah,
Susie has a heart. Oh, that one. Oh
yeah.
yeah, that's little Miss Feisty right there. Here you go, Scott. I'll show you. It's a good thing you don't have one of these running around in your house, Scott. I don't know what you would do.
That's my heart.
yeah,
That's a girl.
my
That's
sister, she got her degree in horsemanship, in Virginia. And we lived in Virginia. We grew up there, so people had horses,
Yeah.
in the backyard, corrals and stuff like that. And I even, we got on, horses, bareback, when I was like 6 years old and stuff, But yeah, uh, yeah, my sisters, they love, my other sis, she's going to come and visit me, but she loves horses and dog, she's got all that. She don't have horses, but she's got the border collie stuff, so.
Well, we gotta go and search for another donkey. We gotta get a baby donkey.
okay. You gotta
And
show this picture now. This is a picture of me winning on that part of mine a couple
oh,
months ago. That's my
okay.
girl there. Since we're talking about our favorite pets here,
She's like, well, she paid enough for her. That's hard to
there,
see.
there I was when we won first place at the show at the sorting, and that's my girl. She did it. She did it.
Were you a jumper?
No,
Were you?
sorter. We worked cattle,
Okay.
sorting cows, like, and I showed cutting horses, working, sorting. It's where you sort and herding cattle and
Yeah,
compete. Yeah,
I got
so
you.
it's a lot of fun.
that's where Susie disappears to every once in a while on the weekends. It's just too
Yeah,
hot right now, so
load up the horses, and me and my son go, and we go compete. And so,
yep.
yeah, it's just too hot right now. I don't want it. But even though the arenas are air conditioned, it's just too
Yeah.
hot.
Susie's like, I just can't. I can't.
Yeah,
I'm melting. I
on
cannot.
the horses, and it's just too hard on everybody. Because you have to get up early, and you're showing all day, and then you're out in the heat, all back and forth, and
Right. Well,
so the
I
weather
am
gets.
waiting for Miss Sherry to get better. In case you guys haven't noticed, she hasn't been here for a while. Um, she's dealing with a medical problem, but I'm waiting for her to get her strength back so she can come back so we can do, some more shows. Yeah, I know it's hard a lot of times for Susie to do them during the week. Um, oh, that reminds me. Um, what day was that you said that you're going to go on Rob's show, Susie?
On the 12th. What is that? That's
7 o'clock.
yeah. So you'll have to remind me so I don't forget, right?
Well, I'll remind you while I'm at my doctor's appointment, and after my doctor's appointment, I have to go and get a sonogram done of my artery in my left leg. So hopefully I will be back in time, but I will shoot you a message to remind you just in case.
Okay.
I forgot. I thought it was on the 11th, but it's not. It's on the 12th. So yeah,
Okay. Well, yeah. I mean, you should be able to get on. And
yeah.
how does he do his show? It's just like the regular, like sign in or.
I think so. I think you went over there one time before because I think he uses StreamYard.
Okay.
So yeah, you're familiar with those.
Okay.
I love going on Abe's show, but I can never turn my camera on his restream, and I don't know why. I have
Well,
fixed
since
all
anybody's
my.
listening, Brenda, I'm gonna be on Rob's show. And what's the name of the show?
Speaking of cat,
Oh God,
he
what
just
is the
jumped
name
up in the
of
window.
what's the name of Rob's show?
Uh, uh, topical spectic, topical spectic,
It's called what?
topical spectic, I believe. Yeah, yeah.
Hey,
What
another
is it?
thing on the 15th, I thought of it now. A couple things on the 15th, you brought that up.
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah.
one of them is I think Trump is meeting with Putin on a bunch of political stuff, but you said
Yeah,
this, the asteroid or something like that too. And
Yeah.
then
and
the other
the
thing, the other thing is this
Maybe an alien
disclose.
abduction of a bunch of people off the planet too. What
Well, they're saying also a lot of the political um, the arrests or
yeah
treasonous kind of stuff too on the
they
15th.
yeah
Oh, and
they got
also
the
they
well they
said
got
too.
the
I just heard this
depositions.
is today is the 9th, so
Yeah.
Well,
that
they're
they
all
said
being pulled in for
now they
depositions at
said
different
on
times.
Monday there could be I don't know, there's always this gloom and doom and porn fear and stuff, but they're
I know.
saying
I hate that. I
like
hate to say that, but
they're saying the
live
banks,
was
the
fun.
money changeover thing. So like, make sure you got food and all that stuff. I got to go tomorrow morning, and they're saying something about that too. About
Yeah,
you've heard about the
they've been
Nasara, all this
I
different
yeah
think
stuff.
they've
the
been
main thing,
they've
what the
Yeah,
been
it's
news
all.
got is everybody to live in fear, and that's
Yeah,
like
yeah.
it's like fear, 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 and that's
yeah,
the
but
devil's
I don't have any
biggest.
food in the house.
Well,
You
you
know.
need to go get food,
You
Scott.
want me to eat cat food? Do you want me to eat cat food? Okay, I will. Thank you very much.
I've heard that people can live off of that. I mean, if we could live off of the milk
Yeah,
bones our
yeah.
moms and grandmas used to feed us, I'm
Hey,
pretty
I
sure
would eat
cat
milk
food.
bones and Friskies, that's for sure.
Yeah,
God.
I did a 19-day fast. I think I'd do a fast again if I had to.
right. I've got plenty. I've got more than enough. My
All
freezer's
right,
screaming at me.
I'm gonna sign off. So I'll talk to
All
you gals
righty.
later. We'll get
All
together
right.
sometime.
Okay.
See ya
We will see
later.
you later.
Bye bye.
Thanks, Scott.
You're welcome.
All right, guys. So we are going to go ahead and call it a night. And like I said, whenever Sherry starts feeling better, I've been wanting to do more shows for you guys, but it's just been hard because Susie's got so much that she has to do and all that. So
And Brenda, it's been we get out there in the evening because it's so hot during the day, and then
right.
you know, but and tonight we just kind of threw something together, um, no, but yeah, but that main thing was thinking about why everybody's talking about the 15th.
Yeah.
What they think is going to happen.
There's a lot of talk going on. I have to watch my one guy tonight, and then I'm going to send a text message and find out a few things. So, but all right, guys, we're going to go. And for most of you, if they come to the show, I will see you over there tonight. And until then, we will see you guys next week. And like always, everybody, please be kind to one another and have a good night.